And I looked and I thought, what about my son? So we grabbed the bags, put in the car, we were gone. Driving to school, and all my son could sing was, "We are going to the zoo, we are going to the zoo." Parked up the car, and before I could pull the handbrake out, boom, he was gone out the door. He wanted to run to his friends and tell them the good news. I could hear him, "Guys, my dad's coming to the zoo." When I walked out there, it was about 50 friends. They started walking closer to me. I noticed more of them coming, 70, 80. They all came and said, "Hey, Mr. Tofiga, you're funny, man." Another kid said, "Hey, I see you dress like a woman." And they were giving me all these compliments and stuff, and I was looking at my son was looking around, he was so proud. And I was thinking to myself, man, just to think, I almost said no to my son, a special day. Parents started walking towards us. People from their homes were leaving their houses to come out. The plane was just dropping people. 500,000 people. Freedom. I was like, man, it was amazing. And then there was this one kid, my son's best friend, standing right next to him. He was looking at me like, I thought maybe he's just a bit nervous. So I said to the whole crowd, there's about 2 million now. I said, "Hey guys, quiet." Like that, everyone just stopped. They got on their knees and they just prayed. I said, "Hey kid, something you want to say?" "Go on, it's okay." He looked at me. And then this is where I realized, and he reminded me just how honest young kids can be. Sometimes too honest. He looks at me, and then he looks at my son, and he says, "Hey, Mr. Tofiga, why are you so fat?" I was looking at him like, "Are you serious, man? There's 6 million people here." So I looked at my son like, I said to my son, all I wanted my son to do was just a little chop, just boom. Look at him, come on, man. My son looks at me, he's like, "Dad, why are you so fat?" And everyone, "You are fat, you are fat." 8 million people.
8 million now.
Till we got onto the bus, and that kid was sitting right up the front. He turned around. And I was like, what do you want? You want a 1 ounce, Captain? Another thing about lockdown was it gave me the opportunity to see a lot more of my kids play rugby. Especially my youngest two. They play for Ori's under 11s. Now our club, Ori's, it's a small club but a big family. And we've got players like, that come through the club like Ma'anonu, Julian Artisavia, Michael Jackson. But our club is very multicultural. We've got full Samoan, half Samoan, quarter Samoan, wannabe Samoan. So our club is very brown, a very brown club. And we played against this team called from Karori called Wests. Now West is a very Parani club. The only brown kid they had on their team that day was the one that was playing in the mud. So we went to watch the game. And for me, I just like to observe and just see how the parents supported each other and their kids. I was standing there watching the mothers from the West team. And one of the mums from the West team was like, next son, come over here, next son. Look, next time, just try your best. Everyone in your family has texted and I told them that you're playing today and they just want you to do well. It doesn't matter the result, as long as you give it all that you have. After this, we will celebrate. We will go and have some cheese and crackers. Get some hummus. And then we'll top it off with visiting the art gallery and doing like that. And I thought, wow, that's nice family time after. Another mother from West was like, Toronto, come here, I've got your mouth guard. I looked at the mother with the mouth guard. She had this Gucci bag, just for the mouth guard. When she opened up the bag, inside the bag was a special plastic container. They had a PIN number. Inside that was the mouth guard. She pulled the mouth guard, put it in his mouth. You could see it had all the contact details and a GPS. So if she loses it, it'd be like, it's in your mouth. And I thought, wow, only the best for us. And I thought, what an amazing mums. Just speaking words of life into their kids, encouraging them. And then I looked over at the mums from our club. They do exactly the same thing. Speak words of life, encourage them. But it's just that to other people, it doesn't sound like encouragement, it sounds like abuse. One of the mums in our team was like, Asako, come here. Shh, where's your mouth guard? Huh? What do you mean Kavika's got it? He's using the first half. Okay, that's okay. Let him use it up here, and you put it down here. Because you got no teeth up here. Another mother in our team was like, Kimokeo, come here. Why are you putting the gel in your hair, the product in your hair when you come to play rugby? Huh? What do you mean you want to look like Sonny Bill with you? I wish your dad looked like Sonny Bill with you. And then one other mother in our team was like, Sefo, shh, what are you doing looking in my bag? What do you mean you're hungry? Huh? Look at you look like you're already eaten half of the other team. That's why we have to carry a birth certificate everywhere we go for your team. Huh? Yeah, finish up your chicken and chips and then go. Another great thing about COVID, for my family, said it's been that, don't have to travel as much. And what I mean by, I'm not built for traveling. Not really built for much. But when I travel, especially with flying, when they bring the food out, and they say, please put down your trays. For normal people, you can open up the tray, and when you put it down, it comes right down here. Where it should go. And some of you will have a little gap. There was one guy when I came up to Auckland, he was going, I got a gap. I was like, you want a gap between your teeth? So, that's where, for normal people, usually comes down here, sits right there. But for me, when I open a tray, it hits my chest straight away. That's why sometimes I pretend I'm asleep. Because I don't want to make them feel awkward. Like, would you like something to eat? I say, yeah, sure, where you want to put it on my head? But that's why I love traveling with Air New Zealand. Because, man, they make your traveling experience, like something really special. Their service is second to none. And what I mean is, because for me, I tend to use extension. And every time I fly in New Zealand, I remember one time I flew in New Zealand, and I need an extension. I said to the air hostess, I said, excuse me, do you have an extension? But they think about your feelings and they want you to feel comfortable. And the way they did that for me was when I asked for an extension, she looked at me and she said, are you sure? And then when she went to give me one, she just walked past me, just dropped it like that. No one even knew she was giving me an extension. I thought, wow, bless your heart, man. But then when I flew to Samoa on our national game, Samoa Airways that's owned by Malaysia. Our Samoa customer service, top shelf. They think about your feelings as well. It's just that they don't care. You know, flying to Samoa. And I remember asking her, I said, when will I be also extinction? She goes, huh? Extension. She goes, oh, extension. Yeah, okay. Susanna! It's extension. Oh, that's an apple. 23C. 23C. Everyone on the plane started. Susanna, 2, Lua. And then when I flew back from Samoa to New Zealand, same lady. I asked her, said, excuse me. Her response blew me away. She said, huh? Extension. She goes, extension. Oh, sorry, we run out. I was like, since when do you run out of extensions? And then before our plane took off, I looked down the front. I looked at the 2 air hostesses, and I thought, oh, that's where. Now they're working for MSD. I remember, it reminds me, hello? It reminds me of the first time I ever flew first class.
Oh.
And I didn't pay for it, it just cost too much. But I didn't realize that when I was flying from LA to Auckland, the lady at the Air New Zealand in LA, she was a big fan. So she upgraded me to first class. And so I went into the lounge and it was my first time. And I walked inside and I saw all these sort of like middle-aged parani men. And I thought, okay, I want to make sure, I want to make them think that I do this all the time. So they were sitting, they were reading either off their laptop or a book. I grabbed the paper, started reading the paper. And then I realized the paper was upside down. The lady comes and taps me on the shoulder. Goes, excuse me, Mr. Frapulia, you've just been upgraded to first class. And I was like, are you serious? But I didn't want to overreact because people were here. But I turned around, no one even heard her say what she said. And I thought, no, you're going to hear. So I asked the lady, excuse me, sorry, I'm a bit hard of hearing. Can you just say a little bit louder? What was that, sir? She said, Mr. Frapulia, you've just been upgraded to first class. Everyone turned around. I looked at them and said, it's okay. Happens all the time. Grabbed my ticket, put it in my pocket. I was so happy. Then I looked around, what are they doing? They were eating things like carrot sticks, celery sticks. And I was like, oh, wow, they're doing it? I can do it. Grabbed that carrot stick. Didn't know what to do with it, so I started in the base of my ears. And then they called our flight. I was walking down, I was so excited. Started to think of my family, I'm the first one to fly first class. Got to the gate, to the door. The man goes, oh, Mr. Fapula, you're in business class. I said, yeah, I know, happens all the time. I walked through the door and turned left to go to the front, and he tapped me on the shoulder. Said, no, Mr. Fapula, you're sitting upstairs. I was like, yes, I'm upstairs. I started crying, boys, this is my first and all of my village to do. And then when I turned around, and looked at the staircase that goes upstairs. I cried even more, but I can't fit up there. So I asked the lady, I said, and the guy, I said, how about you guys go and help those in the economy, and I'll wait for you to come back. The reason why I asked him to go is because I had to try and figure out a way to get up there. The staircase is so narrow. It looked like it was made for just hobbits. So I looked at it, I knew I couldn't go front on. So I turned to the side, put my hands up and I started sliding my By the time I got up to the top of the staircase, there was a massive line of dust on my shoe. And then I walked into where the seats were. It looked like a spaceship. I was like, wow. Wow. I sat down, I looked across, it was one of the old men that was in the lounge. He was looking at me like he knew this was my first time. Then he pressed this button on his chair down like a bed. And I thought, oh yeah, I got it. I tried to press the button, but there was something in the way. So I couldn't see it. And there were 6 buttons, and I was trying to pick the right one. So I just guessed it, and I thought, okay, number 4. I pressed number 4, but instead of my chair going down into a bed, it went forward like that. The old man was looking at me laughing, and I was like, oh, just how I like it. I'm down to go to sleep. 2 hours we were in the air. The old man still looking at me. I was like, just close your eyes. You know how long it takes to go from LA to Auckland? Just over 12 hours. 12 hours, I was like this. When I got off the flight, I was like, wow, that was so fantastic. You know, it's been awesome. Today we had a session where I was able to share a little bit about my life and my journey. And one of the things many people didn't know was that I'm an only child. And it's not common in Samoan families, because we like to hit the double digits. You know, and sometimes it can help with our government assistance and things like that. And, you know, and I remember, you know, sort of like growing up, because everything was Samoan. My first language was Samoan, culture was Samoan, the only people I knew was Samoan, church was Samoan, our food was Chinese. But I remember going to school, go to church from home. And we would drive from home to church, and I would see these Palangi kids, and I'd be like, oh, wow, look at this Palangi kid. Because all I knew was Samoan. So I couldn't wait to start primary school. Couldn't wait to go, you know, make friends with Palangis and talk to them and see what they sound like. So my first day at school, everyone was like, hey man, what's your name? What's your name? Of course I was like so fresh, you know, all I knew was something. I was like, yeah. God bless. But my English got better the more regularly I went to school 2 days a week. And I remember I started making friends with Palangi, had Maori friends, Asian friends, you know, my other cousins were at school. Some friends I kept close, others not so close, depending what they brought for lunch. And I remember when I was about 8 years old, there was a question I always had in the back of my mind. I wanted to ask my mum and dad. Because see, my mum comes from a big family. There's about 11 of them, and then there's the half brothers and sisters, which made a total of like 57. Because my mum's dad, he was a really nice guy. He was very community focused. A very hands-on type of person. And I used to say to my mum, hey mum, granddad, he's like a farmer. She said, what do you mean? I said, you know, you go to the different villages and plant seeds. So I'm talking to my mum, you know, and there's a question I always had in the back of my head. I walked home after school one day, she was in the kitchen. And I asked my mum, I said, Mum, why did you and Dad choose just to have one child? She looked at me and said, Finger, Finger. Ah, Finger. Sit down. I sat down, looked closer at my mum. I noticed she had a tear come down from her eye. I mean, where else does it come from? So I asked her again, I said, Mum, why? Why did you choose just to have one child? And she said to me, Finger, to listen why I choose just to have one children. It's because look at you. How can I have more children when you eat more than 10 children? And when my mom said this, it broke my heart into one piece. I was so shattered. It was the first time I ever ran away from home. Okay, I walked. I walked away from home. And when I got to the front gate, I looked outside and thought, wow, it's such a long road. And I realized, hey, it's the thought that counts. And then I went back in the house because it was almost lunchtime. But the other thing, that for me growing up as a Samoan is that I was disciplined, old school Samoan as well. And I remember when I started making friends, one of my closest friends was a Pahalami boy named John. And it was my friend John that made me realize that some people do things different from other people. So when I went to John's house, we started playing with his toys. He was always the good guy, I was the bad guy. So every time he shoots me, I have to die. But what he didn't know was every time he shot me, when I died, I was like, I'm taking the toy at the same time. Sometimes he wouldn't even shoot me, I'd be like, he said, I didn't shoot you. I said, just in case. So we're playing at John's house. And then John, John's mum started calling out John's name. Johnny boy, JJ, honey bun, sugar pie, sweetie pie. Called his name out like 8 times. I couldn't believe it. Because I was raised old school Samoan. In our house, kasi barang. Then he get called once. Finger, oh! I could be asleep. Finger, yeah. I could be in the bathroom. Finger, oh! So when Johnny's mom was calling out John's name, I was like, Johnny, you're my hero, man. Johnny's mom came to the room. You could tell she was embarrassed and also angry as well, because there was a guest in the house. She said, John, I've called your name out numerous times. Why haven't you responded? John, I'm getting so angry, you're getting my knickers in a twist. And as a young Samoan boy, I'm like, how do you get your knickers in a twist? And she was just calling out John's name, John. John shocked me when John said, what? I was like, are you serious? I was thinking that was me and my mum said, Finger, I went, what? Next time you will visit me, there'll be an IV hanging from the We're here today. So when John did that, I was like, wow. So I started clearing the toys because I thought John was going to get smacked. I started clearing all the toys. And then Johnny's mum did something I'd never seen or heard of before. She said, John, that's it. I want you to tell your friend Tiffany to go to home. I was like, that's Tofiga. She said, no, I'm so sorry, Tofiga. But what she did to John that moment, I couldn't believe it. He said to John, I want you to go sit down, face the wall. I want you to count to 10, think about the consequences, the ramifications, and what's going to happen to you. And I was like, Sonny, what? I went to school the next day, told all my cousins, I said, Dilly, shh, I was at John's house last night. He yelled at his mum, and all his mum said was count to 10 and all these consequences and things. All my cousins started laughing. They were like, Figa, silly Figa, I said, Figa, silly. Don't you know what that is? I said, what is it? He said, that's what they call time out. I was like, what? Time out? I said, what? We don't do time out. We do knockout. And it doesn't matter what room in the house, it's just boom. Yeah, think about it, son. Tell me what you think about it when you wake up tomorrow, son. And I was like, man. But that's one of the things that a lot of non-Samoans don't realize is that there's a science behind Samoan discipline. You see, not only is it physical, it's psychological. Because after they give you the physical, then they mess up your mind. They mess up your mind by doing things like give you the physical and then ask you questions like, why are you crying? And you look at your parents like, are you serious? And you feel like saying to them, okay, now, let me tell you something. I think I'm crying because the 2x4 hit my head and now my teeth Now, do you think that's But even though we're very, hard with and strict with our discipline, one of the hardest type of discipline I ever saw was when I was in John's house. I'm not sure what it was that John did. It was the first time I ever had dinner at a Palangi house. It was a culture shock. 1 serving per person. They gave me 1 scoop of ice cream. I was like, oh, just give me time out, man. I'll come to 10 any day, man. But I wasn't sure what it was that John did. His mum was so angry. He said, John, that's it. I've had enough. The words she said next is what still haunt me tonight. She said, John, go to your room. No dinner for you tonight. I was like, what? How can you? As Samoans, we are hard with our discipline, but we will never send our kids to go to bed without having something to eat first. Even after a good salsa, I'll be like, yeah, you finished? You finish your grind? You finished? Huh? Fix your face. Fix your face. You smile? Yeah. Okay, go finish off your dinner, then go to sleep. Hey, pick up your tea first. Then go to sleep. And even though it was hard, for me growing up, I started to realize that, my parents disciplined me that way because it was the only way they knew how. And now that I have my own kids, I don't discipline, because I always thought, man, I'm never going to discipline my kids the way my parents did. And now with my kids, when they play up, I know what to do. I pull the curtains. Because noise travels. And the laws have changed. No, I use my words. I use my words. But it was funny, in our house, there were 2 traces of discipline. There was the physical, and then there was the lectures. And it might sound funny to you, but I would rather have the physical. Because the lectures, the words kill you slowly. And for the lectures for me, it wasn't so much the words, it was the fact that my dad's lectures would go on, and then reverse, and then go off onto another road and start another new story. Sometimes most of the stories and the lectures had nothing to do with the reason why I got in trouble in the first place. Sometimes my dad would go on for like long as literally I would look at him and I'm like, just give me in the face, Dad. Just give me in the face. And I remember one time, you know, because it's funny, because my parents became grandparents. Change. It was like they had dementia. Here's what I'm trying to say. Saturday morning, I go into the lounge, my mum's there with my middle son. And he's jumping up and down on the couch. And my mum's watching the TV like. The reason why it was a shock to me, because when I was at his age, I had to sit on the floor. Not even allowed to sit on the couch. So I looked at my son and all I said to myself was, son, what foi lá? So you can have a fun, if I were If you don't understand someone, all I said was, my blessed son from God. Please sit down. You know, so all I did was just raise my voice, just a little bit. My mum started crying. She was like, Tofiga, why you raise your voice to the boy? Why you jump to him like, what is he doing to you? Son, I never raised my voice. I was like, are you serious? Not only did you raise your voice, you raised your hand. You raised the vacuum cleaner. You raised me. But going back to the lectures, one day I was playing at John's house. And one of the golden rules in our house was at 5 o'clock, everyone had to be home because it was time for devotion, time for our family law. No matter where you were, make sure you're home by 5. And I knew, everyone knew, when the street lights come on, it's 6 o'clock, which means I'm late. So we're playing at John's house. I didn't have a watch, no device, no iPhone, anything like that. The only way I could tell the time was by using the stars, the sun, the time, and the things. Because my ancestors were voyagers. You're welcome. And so I was on John's trampoline, and I knew there was something wrong with John's trampoline because every time I stood on it, I was touching the ground. And we're playing at John's house. I looked up to the sky. I could tell the shapes of the cloud and the speed that it was moving at. It was only 3:15 p.m. I thought I still got a bit of time. Playing hardcore again. I looked back up again. I could tell by the way the birds were flying backwards. It was 4:36 p.m. I thought, wow, got just over 20 minutes. But I enjoyed it so much at John's house. I played so hard out. I looked out again. I could see the street lights were on. And I thought, oh no, I'm going to get in trouble. When I knew I was going to get in trouble, I thought, I'll play hard up for another 2 more years. Make it worthwhile, you know. And while I was playing, I was trying to think of a plan. I thought, wow, what can I... So I asked John, I said, John, can you walk me home after? That was my plan. Because I knew if John walked me home, my dad see John, then I'll be free. Because he knows John can ring the police. So we're playing at John's house. Go up home afterwards. I said, knock on the door. He knocked on the door. Couldn't hear anyone. And I knew they were doing the law. I said, knock again. Knocked on the door. Then all you could hear was my dad. Fia! Fia! Fia me whakari o shafalu. Whakari tal ne o wawai. Who was that? That's my dad. What did he say? He can't wait to see me. While he was walking to the door, we didn't know there was a broom right next to the door. He opens up the door, grabs the broom up like this, sees me, looks at John. When he saw John, he starts sweeping the sand. And then he put the broom down. I thought, yeah. Turned around, thanks, John. And then he goes, hey, you, what's your name? It's John there. Oh, okay, come inside. He said to me, Finger, get inside. All right. Girls around. When we were walking inside, I knew that we were going to get a lecture. Because we got in there, he sat us down, and he said, sit down here. Then my dad sat on what we call the lecture chair. And that's where everyone gets lectured, you know. So when he sat down, I wasn't so worried about the lecture. I was worried that he was going to do it in English. Not only did his lectures not make sense when they were in Samoa, imagine what it was going to be like in English. So he sat us down. And he said to me, Finger, John, I'm going to tell you a story that's going to change your life. You will never be late to anything ever again in your whole life in your next one. And I was sitting there like, oh no, please John, don't listen. Then he started the story. Once upon a time, there was a millionaire. He was so rich. It's like he had heaps of money. And that day, the millionaire was having a baby. So he go to the hospital. When he got there, it was like the baby was just born. He lifted up his baby. He said to his baby, son, what do you want for your first day on the earth? The baby said, the baby can't talk. It was a stupid baby. The millionaire said, okay son, I'm just going to park the car. 6 years later, the millionaire come back. His son is now 11 years old. 11 years old. The millionaire turned up for his birthday. He said, son, what do you want for your birthday? His son said, Dad, all I want is just a big, red, bouncing ball. I want a big, red, bouncy ball. The millionaire said, okay, son, I'm going to do the shopping. Whatever you wanted, I will get it for you, and I will bring it here for you. The millionaire was go shop, buying TV, DVD, VDD. Buying all these toys, remote control car, remote control train, remote control TV. He come back and said, son, how do you think of your present? Happy birthday. Son said, but Dad, all I wanted was just a big, red, bouncy ball. His dad said, okay, son, I promise, cross my heart. I hope to fly. I'm just going to go for a shower. 5 years later, the millionaire's turned up. She's such graduation, just graduated university. He's now 21 years of old. 21 years of old. He said, son, what do you want for your birthday? That's on the same day as your graduation. Son said, Dad, all I ever wanted was just a big, red, bouncy book.
That's good.
The millionaire was shopping, buying a hotel, buying an island, buying the Oakland Blues. He come back. He said, son, what do you think? Happy birthday, son. Son said, Dad, all I wanted was just a big, red, bouncy ball. What happened was the son got so angry. So angry. So angry. The son picked up the key to the Lamborghini and drive away in the Ferrari. The millionaire was at home. He received a phone call. The millionaire picked up the phone. Said, hello? Hello? Who is this? This is the police. What do you want, the police? Your son has been in a car crash. In a what? In a car crash. So where's my son? In a car crash. The millionaire was so upset. So upset he grabbed the keys to his car and he go in his boat.
Good.
When he arrived to the car crash, the car was broken in half. One piece, two pieces. He reached down and grabbed his son. Only the top half. Because he's a half caste. He took to his son. Son, please don't die to me. Anything you want, I will got it for you, son. His son said, Dad, all I want is just a big, red, bouncy. And then my dad said, and then he died. I was like, what in the world was that? John looked at me and said, your dad is an idiot. And then my dad said, Dad, what's that got to do with us being late? He pulled me up towards him and said, you late again, I'm going to kill you like that boy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.